evening, guys, and welcome. This evening I thought I would do a quick fire round of questions about Rwanda that I found on the internet in forums, mostly on Reddit, that I think I stand like a fair chance of being able to answer, at least a 50-50 chance of getting correct. I wanted to do this because I know that over the past couple of months almost everything on my channel has been about the UK. I know by the subscription drop that not everybody's been very happy about that. But also my neighbour in the village that I'm currently in has decided to go on a trip to Rwanda in October. They were planning to go to South Africa, but those plans fell through and they wanted to go somewhere slightly different, and having heard my mum talk about how much she enjoyed Rwanda, they thought that they would go to Rwanda as well. So that's quite cool. What I'm going to go through now is just very quickly some questions that I've found online and drink wine and answer them if I can. So the first question up is, where can I find these? Now, if you don't know, it's just been announced that some of the Rwanda money is getting changed, or the pictures on it's getting changed. And a couple of years ago, I did a video about what Rwanda money looks like. So if you've seen that, you'll have an idea of what's already on the banknotes. And it seems like the two that are being changed are the 5,000 and the 2,000. Now, the 5,000, that's a bit sad because the 5,000 is a gorilla. And it's not just any gorilla. When I went to the Ellen DeGeneres Gorilla Museum up in Rwanda, it turns out that that gorilla is a very specific gorilla called Titus. So I never knew that, but that is Titus there. If you want to know more about that, go and check out that video, which is either up there or up there, depending on whether or not this is mirrored, because I have no idea which way left and right is. That's being replaced with a picture of Kigali Convention Centre, which, again, a little while ago I did a video about what the most iconic symbols in Rwanda were. So in my last Best Things About Rwanda video, where I poll my viewers and I ask them questions about Rwanda and they respond. And when I asked what the most iconic symbol of Rwanda was, only about 13% of people mentioned the convention centre, whereas 53% of people said the gorillas. You know, the gorillas are by far more iconic than the convention centre at the moment. So I don't know if putting the convention centre on the 5,000 franc note is an attempt to kind of make that link between, you know, Rwanda and the convention centre. And it's a cool building. I mean, it lights up in different colours. It lights up with the flag colours of a dignitary if they're visiting, or a sports team. It's a pretty cool building. But I don't know, I feel a bit sad that Titus is being thrown away. Yeah. And the other one is the 2,000 franc note, which when I did my video about Rwanda money, nobody could tell me what the satellite dish on the 2,000 franc note represented. It was a complete mystery. So that's now gone. And I'm thinking this is Lake Kivu. I've read a few articles saying that these new notes are going into circulation, but they don't really explain what they are. I think it's Lake Kivu. It could be Lake Muhazi, maybe Lake Akagera. I think it's most likely to be Kivu. If you know, let me know below. Okay, so next up we have somebody asking about popular snacks in Rwanda. I have a friend from Kigali who's homesick. They want to get them some snacks. What do they get them? They've mentioned something called citron, or I would say citron. Is that the Fanta one? Yes, it is. Fanta Citron. If you don't know this, it is basically lemon Fanta. So in the UK now, if you go into your corner shop and you see that yellow can of Fanta, the lemon Fanta, that is Fanta Citron. And it's been very, very much beloved for years and years and years in Rwanda. We all love Fanta Citron, especially on a hot day, cold Fanta Citron. Really, really good. So, not to promote my backlist here, but I did do an entire video on Rwandan snacks because I'm a big fan of Emmy Made. And she did a video where people send in snacks from around the world, and she did a snack video about Rwanda. And then I went over that video because there are a few things in there I didn't recognise. And then I went down my local shop and I bought all of the snacks. I bought all of the snacks from my local shop in Kigali, and I went through what to me are the quintessential Rwandan snacks. Now, of course, we've got samosas in there, or sambusa as they're called in Rwanda. We've got simsim, which are little sesame seed balls. What else? Winners Crisps, obviously Winners Crisps, and Masaka drinking yogurt. So if you want to know more, a real in-depth dive about Rwanda's snacks, check out that video. And forgive me, because this was a little while ago and I was still figuring out YouTube, as I am still figuring out YouTube. And I was not perhaps as fluent in front of the camera as I perhaps am now. I'm not sure that I'm really that fluent in front of the camera now, but there was a lot of umming and ahhing. Yeah. If you want to know about snacks, go and check that one out. Next question. Help with upcoming trip. I'm heading to Rwanda in a few weeks and need to know what the weather is like from September to December. I'm considering renting a room without air conditioning, and I'm told I won't need it because weather is usually cool during the season. I don't handle heat well, so I'm trying to decide whether or not to have the air conditioning. Also, I've heard about restrictions on nylon bags. Are Ziploc bags and checked luggage okay, or should I just avoid bringing those? Right, one thing after the other, starting at the beginning and continuing to the end. Is that an Alice in Wonderland quote? I feel like it's an Alice in Wonderland quote. Okay, so September to December is kind of the short rainy season. So because we're on the equator, we don't have seasons in the same way that countries north and south do. So we don't have summer and winter. It doesn't go hot and cold. It goes wet and dry. So we have a long and a short wet season and a long and a short dry season each year. September, October, November is the short rainy season. So you can expect to have a few downpours. When it rains in Rwanda, it really rains. You know about it. You're not in any doubt. You don't stand there like you do in the UK going, oh, is it drizzling? It's like, oh, right, no, it's a biblical flood. But they don't tend to last very long. And you usually get a little bit of a warning before that happens. You usually get a gust of wind, which is your warning to get under shelter. And then there's a heavy downpour and then it's over. It's very rare that it will rain all day. It will be a bit colder up in the mountains. If you're going north to gorilla country, it will be a bit colder. Generally speaking, as a British person, Rwandan weather is very agreeable. It's generally in the mid-20s all year round. It never generally goes below 17 degrees. Again, it can feel colder if you're up in the mountains. So maybe take a jumper with you if you're going up to visit the gorillas and things. Definitely take a jumper with you if you're doing that. But generally speaking, around Kigali, it'll be pleasant. It's like a warm early summer day or late spring afternoon. It's very pleasant. And generally houses in Rwanda don't have air conditioning. It's because we're at altitude. So often when people think about Africa, they imagine these like expansive savannas with the sun beating down and everybody's sweating and, it's really hot and muggy. And no, it's in Rwanda, it's not. Because of the altitude, we feel a bit cooler. We get a dry heat, so it's not sweaty and muggy like you would experience in West Africa or by the coast. It's generally a dry heat and it's a pleasant heat. It's never usually too much. And the houses themselves tend to stay quite cool anyway during the day. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. You can definitely survive without air conditioning. And the second part of that question was about nylon bags. I think maybe he means polythene bags because nylon's kind of like fabric, which is fine. But since 2008, polythene bags have been banned. In fact, single-use plastics are supposed to be banned in Rwanda, as they are supposed to be banned in the UK. But nobody's really come up with a financially viable, easy-to-obtain alternative. So you still get single-use drinking bottles, which are then supposed to be recycled. But polythene bags are a no-no. If you bring those and you get stopped at customs, they will take away your plastic bags. So don't bring those. Bring fabric bags. Ziploc bags are fine because they're not considered to be single use. The idea with a Ziploc bag is that you will clean it and use it again. But really, just to be on the safe side, use fabric bags, use paper bags. Yeah. In Rwanda, when you go shopping at your local supermarket, you will often get paper bags. But you can also buy the thick plastic bags, you know, the bags for life. They tend to be okay. It's really the polythene ones that are a big no-no. And rightly so, because when I went to visit the Masai Mara a few years ago, the approach into the Masai Mara was a sea of plastic bags. It was horrible. So yeah, it just prevents that from happening. So yeah, no plastic bags. Shoe removal custom. That's an interesting one. I haven't actually seen this question come up before. I'll be visiting Rwanda next year and was hoping to learn what the custom is as far as removing shoes in people's homes. If it's customary, would it be okay for me to have a pair of slippers in my bag that I can wear? This was a very interesting question. And I actually answered it in the forum, and there was quite interesting information came back, because from my perspective, in my home, people don't take off their shoes when they come, and they've never asked me to do that. But I also tune and fix pianos. And when I go to Asian homes in Rwanda, especially Korean homes, you always take your shoes off. You are not allowed over that threshold unless you take your shoes off. And slippers are provided on the doorstep. So you take your shoes off, you put on the slippers, and in you go. I've never been asked to do that in a Rwandan home. But the discussion that we were having, it turned out that many Rwandans actually said, yeah, you do take your shoes off. Like, in my home, you do that to keep the floor clean, and it is expected of you. And the conclusion that I've come to is that it probably is a lot more common than I ever realised in Rwanda, but people don't ask me to do it because I'm foreign. And you do find in Rwanda that as a foreigner, you are often allowed to get away with a lot of things that people in Rwanda themselves would not expect of each other. So there is a huge dispensation for foreigners in Rwanda. It's a country where, you know, people might think it, but they won't say it. So if you've made a faux pas, people will notice, but they probably won't tell you. And so all of these years, I have been keeping my shoes on, and I probably shouldn't have been doing. But again, nobody's ever told me that. So to me, I would have said, no, that's not a thing in Rwanda. But according to many of the Rwandans who did reply, it is a thing. But for me, I definitely know it's a thing if you're going to an Asian house in Rwanda that you need to do that. So I don't know. This is an ongoing discussion. Let me know what you think below. If you're a foreigner, if you are a Rwandan, tell me what you think is the correct answer to this below. Right, so I'm just going to finish up with this one, which is a set of 3 questions. I've just titled Some Questions, which is good because I'm about to give some answers. Hi, I arrived in Kigali and stay here for a couple of months. This is my first time to be in Rwanda and I need your local help. Here's the questions. 1. Where can I get sunblock or sunscreen? Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Good luck. No, that's flippant of me. I shouldn't be laughing. You can probably find it in a pharmacy. It's not the easiest thing to come across. I don't see it on shelves when I go to the pharmacy, but if you ask, I'm sure they will have it. I actually discovered this in Morocco as well, because I didn't take any suntan lotion to Morocco and I spent a lot of time going around pharmacies and I had to ask for it, and it was given to me in a tube in Morocco, almost like sort of Piles cream, you know, it was like kept behind the counter and you had to ask for it very politely, and it was really expensive. So my advice to anybody coming to Rwanda, you know, if you have got skin like mine, you're going to want to bring some protection with you. Don't rely on being able to find suntan lotion there. It does exist, but like I say, it's going to be hard to find. It's going to be expensive. Bring some. Right, second question. What is the best insecticide, and any ideas, life hacks to, I think that's restrain cockroaches? Best insecticide, anything with DEET in it, which interferes with the mosquito's ability to transfer saliva. This is what I've heard. I've heard this. I don't know how true it is, but DEET, as an insecticide, it doesn't always prevent the mosquitoes from biting you, but it prevents the saliva from transferring and therefore should reduce your risk of getting malaria, because the virus is in the, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. You know what I'm trying to say here. It can't transfer it as easily. So anyway, yes, you don't get the itchy bumps and hopefully you don't get malaria. If you do have problems with mosquitoes, if you are prone to being bitten, you can get yourself a plug-in cock. I'm not joking. I'm not even joking here. Oh, I wish I was. The most popular form of insect repellent in Rwanda is a plug-in electric cock. I'm going to get demonetized for this, and I shouldn't be demonetized for this because I'm telling it like it is. I'm telling you facts, right? These are facts. We also have an air freshener called Climax. Yours for only 40 pence. And we also have washing detergent called Toss. It's not my fault, all right? I did not brand these things, but they are in existence. So that would be my recommendation for mosquitoes. Cockroaches are a bigger problem, and by bigger problem I mean cockroaches are big. They are probably the only big creepy crawly that you are going to encounter. We do not have big spiders in houses. I've never seen one. I'm talking about Kigali. I think if you go out into rural areas, you might. We have snakes. In over a decade, I've never seen one. We have scorpions. In over a decade, I've only ever seen one, and it was out in a rural village and it was dead. So it is very unlikely that you are going to run into big creepy crawlies, except for the cockroaches, and they are unmissable. Sadly, I don't really know of anything that really keeps them away. I think if I did, everybody would be using it. Everybody's just got to come to terms with it in their own special way. I don't have any secret insider knowledge here. Right, number 3. The wild birds up in the sky look cool. Yes, they do. Those look like hawk or eagle. Is there anyone who knows exactly their names and people control hunt them? I think they're asking if people go hunting with them, you know, like put them on their arms and train them. Right, first off, they are actually kites, and you will see them. They are big birds. You cannot miss these. I believe they might be yellow-billed kites. I looked this up on Google on the images, and I think they're yellow-billed. Somebody else said that in the forum as well, so I think it's fair to say that they are yellow-billed kites. They are big, and yeah, my first thought was that is a hawk because they are so big and predatory looking. My cats go crazy when they encounter them. And also when there are avocados on the ground, because we have huge avocados here, but you will often see them come down and attack the avocados and sitting on the ground, sort of pecking away at them. They are big. You don't want to mess with those. That is the bird that could carry away a small child, you know. And also, if you do have pets in Rwanda, if you have small dogs and if you have kittens especially, keep an eagle eye on them, because those kites, they are keeping an eye on them too, and it is not unknown for them to swish off with smaller animals. So yeah, just be aware of the kites. But they look damn impressive, and you often see them circling around in the sky. So I think that is enough for now. I have got wine to drink. I hope that that's been helpful. Let me know if it's been interesting. And yeah, any questions, leave them below.